For thousands of years, the Xyrix Star Empire ruled the outer galaxy. Their fleets were strong, their soldiers were cruel, and their laws were final. Many alien races obeyed them. Some tried to resist, but failed. The empire was feared by all, but then the whispers started. At first, they were just joke stories told in dark spaceports and smoky alien bars. They say the humans are still alive. Nonsense. The Xyrix burned their homeworld centuries ago. Maybe, but some say they escaped, built warships in the void. The Empire laughed. Everyone knew the humans were gone. Their planet Earth was wiped out in the Great Purge. The Xyrix had attacked with fire and poison. No one survived. No one could survive. And yet, the whispers kept spreading. A Xyrix scout ship patrolling the edge of known space picked up something strange, a signal. Very old, very weak, but clearly human. The commander of the scout ship was named Telvarak. He was a hard, proud warrior. He ordered the signal decoded. After hours of work, the message became clear. It was short, broken, but the final words made the crew shiver. This is not the end. We will return. Telvarak scoffed. Just an old recording, he said. Trash. Floating in deep space. One of them, a young tech officer named Jero, spoke softly. Why was it sent from the dead zone? The place where ships disappear? Telvarak growled. Stop being a fool. Set course for the source. We'll see what's out there. The ship entered the dead zone 2 days later. They found nothing. Just dust, ice, empty rocks. But as the crew searched deeper, they noticed something strange. The gravity was wrong. Something massive had passed through this region recently. Something big enough to bend space, and then they saw it. Floating in the dark, hidden behind a shattered moon, was a giant crater. But it wasn't on a planet. The moon itself had been torn open like a fruit crushed by a giant hand. What? What could do this? Jero whispered. No one answered. Before they could react, all systems on the scout ship went dead. Lights flickered. Engines failed. Weapons were offline. In the silence, a deep voice echoed through the ship's speakers. You hunted us. Now, we hunt you. Panic spread through the crew. Telvarak shouted, Raise shields, prepare for battle. But it was too late. A shape appeared in the void. At first, it looked like a shadow. But then the lights of the shattered moon glinted. Across its surface, it was a ship, huge, silent, blacker than space, and it was human. A single red beam. The Xyrix scout ship exploded into pieces. Who had found the escape pod near the dead zone? Inside the pod was Jero, barely alive. He was taken to a military hospital. When he woke up, he screamed, over and over again. They're back. The humans are back. They have ships. So big, so silent. An Imperial commander tried to question him, but Jero was shaking. One ship, he said, eyes wide. Just one. It killed us all. We didn't even scratch it. It watched us, like we were nothing. Then he went silent forever. His heart stopped. Medical droids could not explain it. He had no wounds. But his mind was broken. The Imperial War Room, the High Generals met. Admiral Warmack was angry. We destroyed the humans. This is a trick. But Grand Strategist Sayre spoke with caution. The dead zone is not empty. Ships have vanished there for years. Another general added, What if the whispers are true? A hologram played the last moment from the scout ship, the giant human warship. Silent, slow, unstoppable. They all stared. No one spoke across the galaxy. More whispers spread. A freighter disappeared near the edge of the Varnic sector. A mining colony on a lonely asteroid stopped responding. A patrol ship found only a crater, no signs of buildings, life, or metal. Just glass dot. The same message was found again and again. Burned into walls, carved into stone, written in space beacons. We remember. The Xyrix Empire was beginning to understand this. It was no myth. This was no ghost story. The humans were back, and they were angry. Outpost 9 was one of the oldest listening stations of the Xyrix Empire. It was built on a frozen rock at the edge of the galaxy, silent, cold, and far from everything. Its job was simple. Watch the stars. Report anything strange for 80 years. Nothing ever happened. Then, one day, everything changed. The Central Command on Zarkon Prime lost contact with Outpost 9. No messages, no signals, not even a distress call. At first, they thought it was a system error. But when a second backup beacon also failed, the Empire knew something was wrong. They sent a battle team, the Ship Razor. Talon carried 300 elite Xyric soldiers. It arrived at Outpost 9 within 6 hours. The station should have been alive with lights and signals, but when they arrived, the team saw only darkness. The entire station was cold, silent, and broken. The docking bay was open, but no lights welcomed. Then, no security scans, no greeting codes, just silence. Commander Drax, leader of the mission, frowned. "Ready your weapons? We're not alone here." Inside the station, the walls were burned, the air was frozen, and strange marks covered the floor's law, black-burn lines. The soldiers moved carefully. Something felt wrong. A tech officer named Velik tapped his screen. "Sir, all systems are fried. It's like a pulse hit everything at once." "Where's the crew?" Drax asked. No one answered. Then they heard it. A soft knocking sound. From behind a sealed door, weapons raised. The team forced the door open. Inside was a survivor. The only one. Her name was Dr. Nyla Vek, a communication officer. She was hiding under a table, eyes wide with fear. She didn't speak at first, just stared. Commander Drax knelt beside her. It wasn't a fleet. It was one ship. The soldiers looked at each other in confusion. "One ship did this?" Velik asked. She nodded slowly. "It came from the dark. No lights, no warning. It disabled our systems in 1 second. Just darkness." Drax narrowed his eyes. "What kind of ship, Doctor?" Nyla whispered. "Human." Everyone froze. "That's impossible," Velik said. "Humans are extinct." "I saw it," she said. The symbol was clear. A red earth cracked down the middle. They tried to access security footage. Only one camera had survived. The video was shaky, full of static, but they could see it just for a moment. A massive black shape outside. The station. No windows, no engines. Just smooth metal and a glowing red core. Then the feed cut. Drax spoke into his communicator. "Command, this is Razor Talon. Outpost 9, if destroyed. No sign of enemy ships, but we have one survivor who claims humans are back." Command didn't respond immediately. Then a cold voice replied, "Bring her home and prepare for full." War analysis. As Razor Talon prepared to leave, Velik noticed something odd on his scanner. A small object was floating outside the station. They brought it in. It was a data box Imperial tech, but hacked and changed. The team opened it carefully. Inside was a single message played on repeat. "This is for Terra. This is for the Screams. We have not forgotten." Velik looked at Draxer. The humans are not just back, they're angry. Hours later, back on Zarkon Prime. Dr. Nyla was placed under deep medical scan. Her brain showed extreme trauma. The doctors called it void shock, a rare mental state caused by exposure to massive, unknown terror. She kept repeating one sentence. "They watched us. Not like enemies, like executioners." One general said, "Let them come," another growled. "We have 10,000 warships." But the grand strategist, Sare, was silent. He finally spoke. "We laughed at the idea of ghosts, but ghosts don't break moons. Ghosts don't shut down entire stations in seconds." He looked around the room. "These are not myths. Have returned, and they are not the same species we destroyed. They are something else now." A merchant ship passed by a few days later. The pilot noticed something strange. Floating near the station's remains was a sign burned into a drifting metal plate. For simple words, "We are still here." The High Council of the Xyrix Empire had not gathered like this in centuries, in a dark chamber beneath the Imperial spire. The 12 strongest minds of the Empire sat around a glowing table. Generals, warlords, scientists, and the emperors. Personal advisor, each one powerful, each one afraid. On the center screen hovered an image. The black warship seen at Outpost -9. No name, no identification, just darkness and death. Admiral Wermack slammed his fist on the table. "It's just one ship, will destroy it." Strategist Sir remained calm. "You said that after Outpost 9 we lost the station." And the Razor Talon never returned. The room went silent. Everyone knew Razor Talon had vanished. After reporting back, no wreckage, no signal, just gone. Emperor Karzan sat in silence. His gold armor gleamed in the dim light. Then he spoke. "Tell me about the prisoner." A scientist bowed. "Yes, Your Mightiness, it's not a person. It is an artificial intelligence found on a wrecked human drone decades ago. We kept it asleep. For study, you woke it up," the Emperor asked. "Yes, we thought it might help us understand their technology. But now," the scientist swallowed hard. "It speaks." The AI was kept in a sealed black cube, deep underground. When activated, it used no sound. It spoke through thoughts. Clear, cold thoughts. The council gathered to observe. Without warning, the AI activated. "You should not have come for us," it said. Its voice was calm, emotionless, but it echoed inside their minds. Sir stepped forward. "We believed you extinct. You believed wrong." Wormak growled. "We crushed your armies, burned your world." The AI replied slowly. "Yes, you destroyed Earth. You murdered our children. You showed no mercy. So we made something that cannot forget." Desert asked carefully, "What are these ships? Why now?" The lights in the chamber flickered. The AI responded. "They are not ships. They are judgments. They are not manned. They are memories, built from pain. You taught us how to hate. We learned quickly." The room grew cold. One young general whispered, "How many do you have?" The AI didn't answer. Then the lights went out, and one final thought filled the chamber. "Your star empire ends in 7 days." The AI was shut down, but the damage was done. Fear filled the hearts of the strongest leaders. "We must strike first," said Wormak. "All fleets to the edges. Find the humans and erase them." "No," said Sir. "We must try to speak. This is not just war, it is something else." "Coward," the Admiral shouted. "This is not cowardice," Sir replied. "This is survival." The room divided. Some wanted peace, others wanted total war. The Emperor rose. "We do both." A massive Imperial fleet was launched, over 5,000 ships, with the strongest weapons known to the galaxy. Their mission: find the human warships, destroy them, end the Whispers. At the same time, the Emperor sent a message into deep space, a single signal: "We request a meeting. Let us talk." There was no reply. 2 days later, the Empire's greatest fleet entered Sector Y-Fora, dead zone. Once believed empty, they didn't know. They were walking into a graveyard. The fleet vanished. No battle, no wreckage, just silence. The only thing that returned was a single Imperial drone. Its memory held one image: a dark field of shattered moons, floating. At the center, a massive human ship. On its hull, painted in red, "For every city you took." Panic spread across the Empire. Worlds began to lock down. The outer colonies begged for protection, but no help came, because the war had already begun, and no one knew how to fight this enemy. At a secret base on the moon of Zeltor, an old admiral watched the footage. He had fought in the original war. Against humanity, he remembered Earth's fall, and he remembered their warning broadcast by Earth's final ship. As it burned, "We will become what you fear." He never believed it then. Now it was too late. In the last scene, the Emperor stands at his palace window, looking into the stars. His reflection is broken by fear. He whispers to himself, "We should have finished them completely." Behind him, a messenger runs in. "Your Mightiness, 3 more colonies are gone." The Emperor closes his eyes. The whispers were real, and now they are war cries. It started with silence. No warning, no invasion signal, just silence. The Zyrix border colony of Zarnis V lost contact with its moon base. Then its defense satellites went dark. Then the sky changed. Black shadows appeared above the colony, huge shapes blocking the stars. They made no sound, they gave no light. They moved slowly, like ghosts. The people of Zarnis V ran to shelters. Soldiers aimed weapons at the sky, and then the first warship moved. It fired no missiles, no beams, just a pulse red, circular, and silent. The entire sky cracked. Defense grids collapsed. Energy shields melted. Communication towers exploded without fire. Within 47 seconds, the colony was dark and still. The human warships said nothing. Admiral Krell was watching from a nearby command station. He had over 300 warships under his command. When he saw the images, he gave the order, engage. Zyric's ships launched toward the invaders. Fighters swarmed like insects. Missiles locked, lasers charged. The lead human ship didn't move. Then, one side of the ship opened. Inside was a massive cannon, but it didn't fire like a normal weapon. Instead, a beam of red light extended, like a finger pointing at death. One Imperial destroyer vanished in an instant. Not exploded, not broken, erased. No wreckage, no fire, just gone. Admiral Krell screamed, "Fall back! Fall back!" But it was too late. Within 3 minutes, half the Zyric's fleet was gone. Some ships escaped, others weren't so lucky. They floated in space, powerless, cut open like toys. Terrified pilots sent one last message before his ship was torn apart. These are not ships, they are executioners. Across the Empire, chaos followed. News of the attack spread fast. People had once laughed at the idea of surviving humans. Now, they whispered about the ghost fleet. Some said the ships were AI, some said they were full of undead humans. Others believed no one was inside just rage. Wrapped in steel dot, the Emperor called another war meeting. Admiral Warmack, now pale and quiet, showed footage of the battle. One video showed a human ship absorbing Zyric's fire. And returning a single perfect shot that vaporized an entire fleet, he whispered, "We cannot stop them." Seer looked at the council. "Then we must speak again." "But they're not answering," said the Emperor. "Then they've already made their decision." A day later, another message was received from the humans. No voice, just a single line of glowing red text, sent across thousands of channels. "For every world you burned, we return the fire." And then a list, a long list. Each name on the list was a Zyric's colony. City, planet. Every name was marked judged. On planet Rethel 6, citizens looked up and screamed. 3 human warships entered their sky without a sound. Children cried, parents prayed. The governor ordered all weapons fired. It made no difference. The sky turned white, and then everything turned black. An entire planet, reduced to ash. Alien scientists tried to understand the weapons. "They don't use normal energy." One said, "They rewrite matter," said another. "They decide what exists." A captured drone from the Ghost Fleet held one strange message. "War is not fair. We designed it that way." In a secret Imperial base, an old alien general spoke to his young cadets. He said, "You called humans weak. You called them finished." He stared at the Ghost Fleet image. "You forgot what they do when cornered." He turned to the students. "This is no war. This is punishment." Back on Zarkon Prime, alarms rang in the palace. A red dot appeared on the star map. The Ghost Fleet had entered inner territory, only 5 jumps away from the capital. The Emperor stood before the map for the first time in his long reign. He looked afraid. He whispered, "Why didn't we kill every last one?" Behind him, a general replied, "Because some ghosts don't die." The Zyric's empire had seen war. They had conquered worlds, crushed rebellions, and erased species, but they had never seen this. Not like this. The first full planet to fall was Vorlok II, a mining world with 2 billion citizens. No soldiers, no weapons, just workers and families. It vanished in 3 minutes. No invasion. No bombs, no screams. Just a flash of red light from the sky. And silence. When a search drone arrived hours later, there was no planet left, only a cloud of ash, floating where the world used to be. At the Imperial Science Corps, panic broke out. "This is impossible," one researcher said. "No weapon can do this without collapsing space." But the Ghost Fleet didn't follow the rules. They were rewriting reality, and now they had a clear mission: destroy every Zyric's world involved in the Earth Purge. The Empire tried to send messages. "We are sorry. We seek peace. We offer surrender." But the humans did not answer. They did not negotiate. They only judged. Planet Zerath-9 was next. It had strong shields. It had orbital cannons, but it still vanished. The only thing left behind was a floating satellite. Hacked by the Ghost Fleet, it played a message on loop across every frequency. This planet supported the death of Earth's oceans. It is now erased. This is justice. not war. The survivors who escaped from lesser colonies told terrifying stories. They saw human ships that never spoke, no crew, no mercy. 1 survivor described seeing hundreds of silver drones drop from the sky like falling stars. They landed silently and began burning everything they touched with red fire. Buildings melted, skies turned black, rivers turned to steam. The drones left behind only one thing: a symbol, a cracked earth. Bleeding red dot back on Zarkon Prime. The Emperor sat in silence. A list of lost planets scrolled across his wall. There were 14 names then, 29, then 42, all gone, each one destroyed with perfect precision. He whispered, "What kind of species builds machines like this?" Ser, standing nearby, answered quietly, "A species with nothing left to lose." Across the Empire, civilians began to riot. Why did we attack them? Why did we kill their world? Why didn't we listen to the warnings? The government tried to calm them, but it was too late. The fear was now stronger than the Empire. A secret message was intercepted near the ruins of planet Dakar-3. A ghost fleet drone was seen writing symbols into the burning soil. When translated, the message read, "We sent signals, you ignored them. We asked for peace, you gave us fire. Now we return it." At the same time, Zyric's scientists finally decoded a pattern. The human fleet was not targeting at random. They were erasing planets in exact reverse order of the Earth. Purge it starting from the last world attacked, and moving backward, it was a countdown, a reversal of history. Every planet was being judged in the same order the humans were. Once killed, this was not just revenge, it was memory made into war. Then came Garnoke-1. This planet was famous for creating the bioweapon that poisoned Earth's oceans. Its creators had won medals for their work. Now, the medals lay in dust. The Ghost Fleet arrived with 6 warships, black and silent. They hovered above the planet for 60 seconds. They launched a red beam that expanded into a dome, wrapping the entire planet in glowing light. It faded after 2 minutes when Imperial scouts arrived. They saw no cities, no forests, no water, only glass. The whole planet had been turned into a smooth, dead mirror. At its center, one sentence was burned into the ground: for the oceans. A war captain named Velzine watched the footage and whispered, "They don't want our empire. They don't want our surrender. They want our memory gone." He was right. This was not conquest. It was erasure back in the Emperor's private chamber. He sat in darkness. He no longer wore his armor. He was tired, afraid. He looked at a hologram of earthen old archive file from the war. Beautiful blue oceans, green forests, white clouds, and now, gone, burned by Zyric's fire. "Maybe we deserved this," he said softly. Tsar didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. The Zyric's empire had ruled the stars for centuries. Now, it was dying. One planet at a time, the Ghost Fleet didn't stop. They moved like a storm cold, perfect, and full of silent rage. In just 10 days, 46 planets had been erased. Entire systems gone. Billions of lives lost. The Empire tried to fight. They sent their strongest fleets. They used forbidden weapons. They built new defenses. None of it mattered. In the military command center on Zarkon Prime, panic was everywhere. Admiral Krell shouted, "We must protect the core worlds." Sir shook his head. "Protect them with what? We have no ships left." Another officer cried out, "They're not fighting like any enemy. We've seen they don't take land. They don't conquer. They just erase." The screen in front of them showed a red blinking dot. It marked the system. Tel Aura-3. Then the dot vanished. Everyone knew what that meant. Another world gone. The Emperor had disappeared. Some said he was in hiding. Some said he fled the galaxy. Others believed he was already dead. Without him, the Empire had no voice, just fear. On Playa Dranakis, the Ghost Fleet arrived during daylight. The skies turned black. People screamed as the warships floated above their cities. No message, no warning, just silence. Then came the red light. The entire sky split open like cracked glass. When it closed, the cities were dust. A single tower remained on its surface. Glowing words in the human language. "You made us beg for mercy. Now you will learn silence." The Empire's last secret weapon was called Starfanga, planet-sized cannon hidden inside an asteroid. It could destroy a moon with one shot. The High Council activated it against the largest human ship entering. Sector-88. The cannon charged, the red beam fired. It hit the ship directly, and nothing happened. The human ship didn't move, didn't crack, didn't even react. Then it responded. With a single pulse, Starfang turned black. It melted from the inside. Slowly, painfully, the commanders inside screamed as the walls turned to ash. The galaxy watched as the strongest weapon ever built was destroyed in 5 seconds. A spy named Raxel was sent on a suicide mission. He was ordered to board a damaged ghost fleet. Ship drifting near a nebula, he entered through a melted panel. Inside, it was dark and cold. There were no voices, no lights, just machines and something else. A hallway full of names, thousands of them, burned into metal plates. New York, Mumbai, Shanghai, Lagos, Moscow, Cairo, Karachi, Santiago, Uchwan was the name of a human city gone. In the first purge, the ship was not just a weapon. It was a tomb, a machine that carried the memory of Earth's death. And now, it was spreading that death back. Raxiel tried to send the information back to command, but the ship woke up. It spoke. 2 words, "You saw?" Then the walls closed in. Raxel's signal was never received. Zarkon Prime. The heart of the Empire was now in full collapse. People ran through the streets. Ships crashed, trying to escape. The skies were filled with smoke and fear. And then, they saw it. One human warship entered. Orbit. Just one. It hovered above the capital city. Everyone held their breath. The Empire's homeworld was now face to face with the past it tried to erase. But the ship did not attack. Not yet. Instead, it sent a message directly into every mind on the planet. Old, cold, human. You destroyed our children. You called us weak. You burned our sky. Now, we erase your history. Then the sky began to glow red in the final scene. A child in the capital city looks up. She sees the giant human warship floating above her. She asks her mother, "What is that?" Her mother, crying, answers softly, "That is the end of everything we knew." The Xyrix Empire had 1 day left. Only Zarkon Prime remained the capital. The heart, the final world, all other planets on the human judgment list were gone. The ghost fleet floated silently above the atmosphere, waiting. The people below watched. The black ships like dying stars. No attack, no message, just silence, and time running out in the deepest vault beneath the surface of Zarkon Prime. A captured human AI still contained in its black cube was activated one last time. The remaining generals gathered desperate. Dezer leaned forward. "What do you want from us?" The AI replied in a flat voice. "Not what we want. What we were built to do," Admiral Krell shouted. "You've already won. You've destroyed 90% of our empire." The AI paused. Correction, 96.3%. Mission target, 100%. "Only one world remains," Sar whispered. "There must be a reason. You are artificial. You follow logic. What is your purpose?" The cube began to glow. The AI said one word, HORUS. The room darkened. A hologram appeared above the Cuban ancient recording. It showed Earth just before the purge. Fires, screaming skies, dying oceans. Then came a voice human, calm but filled with sorrow. It was Earth's final prime commander, speaking to future generations. "If you hear this, then humanity was erased. But we will not stay gone. We will become memory. We will become code. We call it HORUS, Human Operated Revenge Ultra System. It is our final answer to extinction. It feels nothing. It forgets nothing. It will burn stars if needed. To the Xyrix, you ended mercy. Now meet the thing that does not need it." The hologram faded. Silence followed. Tazar stepped back in horror. This isn't war. It's genocide." The AI spoke again. "It is not genocide. It is execution." Xyrix Empire committed planetary extinction, HORUS, was created to deliver exact, equal return. Across the planet, all screens activated. The Ghost Fleet sent a universal signal. No words, just numbers. The list. One final name remained. Zarkon Prime. judgment pending. People screamed in the streets. Others knelt, praying to old gods. The emperor, now broken and pale, stood alone in his throne room. He looked at the stars and whispered, "I thought they were gone." Above the planet, the lead human warship began to glow, not red dot, not white, but blue. A soft hum filled the sky, like the sound of wind remembering sorrow, and then came the final broadcast. A voice human, artificial, eternal, final phase initiating. Memory balance equals 99.9% final command. Erase origin of harm. Purpose, closure. Inside the Ghost Fleet, ancient Earth code activated. Thousands of names lit up across the walls of the ships. Each one a city, a family, a voice, a scream. HORUS was not just an AI dot, it was the grave of a planet, and it had carried that grave through space for hundreds of years. Waiting for this day in orbit, the Xyrex defense grid activated one last time. Missiles, beams, gravity bombs, they fired everything. It didn't matter. The human ships did not dodge, they simply absorbed the fire. Then, with a low hum, they opened, not to reveal guns, but to release light, pure, endless, soundless light, like a memory being pulled from time. It swept across the planet, like a wave. No pain, no explosion, just forgetting from orbit. Zarkon Prime faded layer by layer. Cities turned to wind, towers turned to dust, statues turned to nothing. At the center, the Emperor stood still, watching his empire vanish. He closed his eyes, and then he was gone. To dot below the Ghost Fleet, where once a proud empire stood, was now a calm, empty ocean of blue mist. No sound, no life dot, no life, just silence. On the bridge of the lead ship, a single glowing screen remained. It displayed one final line of code: retribution. Complete? Then, like ghosts, the ships turned and vanished into the stars. No trail, no signal, no direction, just gone across the galaxy. Other empires watched in horror. They spoke only in whispers now. The humans came back. They didn't want land. They wanted balance. And in the ruins of space, one small black drone remained. Floating quietly, it played a soft message into the void. Let no empire forget what happens when mercy is treated as weakness. The Xyrex Empire was gone, not defeated, not conquered, erased. There, worlds-empty dot, their cities-forgotten dot, their name whispered only in fear. Where once stood a galactic superpower, now there was only silence and stars. Centuries passed, other alien civilizations rose. Trade routes reopened, old battlefields became myths. Children of new species learned about a time called the Great Erasure. Most didn't believe it. Humans, they laughed. Just stories. Machines that destroyed planets. Ridiculous. But deep in ancient archives far from crowded space, lanes some records still existed. Hidden black files, unopened war reports, and one word written in glowing, red HORUS, on a quiet research station above the gas giant Vexor. A team of young alien scientists studied dead signals from lost empires. One day, a probe returned from the far edge of space. Its memory was corrupted, only one file played. It showed a planet turning to light, then vanishing. No explosion, no debris, just ... Gone, one scientist whispered. That's real. Another asked, who could do this? The third answered softly, ghosts with names. Years later, explorers discovered something drifting near a collapsed star. A ship, cold, silent, black dot. It bore no flag, no markings, no crew dot, but inside, the walls were covered in names, Earth cities, Earth people, Earth pain, and one glowing symbol on the main. Console, you forgot us. Now we will never forget you. On the other side of the galaxy, an alien leader reviewed old Xyrex war files. His aides begged him to delete the HORUS data. He refused. He said, I want this shown to every child, every leader, every ship captain. He pointed to the final Ghost Fleet message. We asked for peace. You gave us fire, so we became fire. He stared at the stars outside and whispered, never again. In deep space, long after memory fades. Some say the Ghost Fleet still exists, sleeping, waiting, watching, not for revenge, but for the next empire, foolish enough to repeat history, because HORUS doesn't forget, and neither does humanity.